get right down to it, you're beautiful. I don't mind the world knowing about you. Beautiful, and I don't care what the magazines say. I don't care what the magazines say. You're beautiful, simply beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You're beautiful.
Good evening, beautiful people. Did you hear that little snippet? Just a little bit of snippet of Beautiful. And that's by Chicago's own Dante Hall. It's a cover song, originally from Al Green. I'm sure some of you may know that. But I wanted to start it out that way because everyone out there is beautiful. I hope your week went well. And I'm glad you're taking time to look around and be grateful. You know, in spite of everything going on and some of the news is dismal, but I want you to still have a heart of gratefulness. I am so excited about my guest this evening and proud to call him a friend. He's an entrepreneur with a conglomerate of companies. I mean, this brother, he's in the Chicagoland area and he has it going on. You may have seen him on The Man Cave. You know, The Man Cave is one of the hottest podcasts out there. If you haven't seen it, it comes on Thursday evenings at 9 o'clock, I believe. I know they changed the time, and when I bring my guest on, I know he's going to correct me if I'm wrong. It's an all-male cast, and they share real talk on real topics. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's on Indie TV. Everyone knows that I always start my show off with a scripture, and I did today, but as typical, I do a little research on all my guests, and this guest right here, you know, I knew he was a good guy, but then when I researched his company, you can tell a lot about a person, particularly if they're a business owner, by things like their mission statement and their core values. And this brother has a mission statement, something like this. 220 Communication is an organization that provides services and develop products and experiences that uplift, support, enlighten, and entertain. That mission statement provides a guide for the company's culture. So it kind of gives you kind of a glimpse into the heart of this man. His core values, for the first core value of all the core values of his company, the first one listed was, guess what? Giving back. In the past few years, the organization has given to over 30 charities, totaling over $100,000. What he's doing is not just good, but it's godly. And that brings me to my scripture today. It's from Matthew 25:23, and it says, his master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness. And that's exactly what's happened to this brother, Glenn Murray. That's exactly. Started out with one thing, and now it's growing exponentially. Let me read a little bit about him before I bring him on. Glenn Murray is a founder of 220 Holdings, the parent company to 220 Publishing, 220 Media, and Food, Wine, and Spirit Ventures. Through 220 Publishing, he has published more than 50 titles across all genres. As a writer, Glenn has blogged for the NBC Chicago Street Teams, contributed articles to 360 Magazine, authored the blog Stop, Look, Listen for ChicagoNow.com, and contributed to the Entrepreneur Within You book series. In 2019, he released his first solo book, You Wrote It, Now Go Sell It, a marketing and promotions guide for authors in a few simple steps. He is a contributor to the best-selling Faith, Failure, Success Stories along the entrepreneurial journey. He co-founded film and television production entity G Rose Productions. He's co-written 4 film scripts, including one based on one of the 220 Publishing releases, Love Miscarriage, and 2 television series, and co-produces the unscripted series Making Love Better Together. and Live from the Cave and Books and Bottles, airing on streaming service Indie TV. He has been featured in Rolling Out, Ebony and Jet, and the Chicago Sun-Times Voyage Atlanta magazine, and the Backstory television show. He was selected by the Chicago Defender as one of the 50 men of excellence and Who's Who Black Chicago and Atlanta. He has been a frequent guest on the Smart Marketing for Small Business radio show, and also, of course, I got to mention the Voices of Change and the Live Exchange podcast. Help me welcome this phenomenal man, Glenn Murray.
Thank you. I had to look around and see who you were talking about for a minute when you were reading this. I was like, is it my turn to guess or am I in the wrong week? I wasn't sure who you were talking about. It was Glenn Smith or somebody like that. I wasn't sure. I just had to make sure.
No.
You sure this is my week? I'm like, this is the 20th, right?
That is you, and all that is you and more. We always kind of shorten it up, and we did.
Thank you.
All that's you. God, how does that feel? Wow.
It makes me feel like I got to shorten my bio because I put too much in it. You need to.
I did shorten that bio.
Oh, I gotta get a Cliff Notes version of my bio because I wrote that a while back. And you know how you do a resume where you start adding stuff onto it, every job you add on, and I think I did that with the bio. So I'm like, okay, there's some stuff we need to take out of there now.
And
thank you.
And some stuff that you need to add to it too.
Yes, thank you. I am glad to be back. I think the last time I was on here, I was with the Man Cave guys, right? I think that's the last time we did this show.
Yes, you were with the Man Cave. Yeah.
That was almost 2 years ago. We are celebrating our second anniversary in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Amazing.
That, and I love the Man Cave. I'll try to watch it almost every week.
Well,
listening audience, I want you guys to say, if you're out there, comment, say hello to Glenn. You can say hello to me if you want to, but this is Glenn's day. So say hello to him. Tell him something good. If you say something interesting, I'll try to read it online, but can't guarantee it because I'm hoping we get a whole lot of comments. So we're going to start out with this because there's so many things, even though I know you, there's so many things about your different companies and your different collaborations that I don't even know about. So I want to get started and let's get going. First of all, from that bio, tell us something that the bio doesn't touch on.
Oh, wow. You start off with the hard questions. You see, I wasn't planning for that one. What doesn't the bio tell you? That I don't sleep a lot sometimes because of all that other stuff I'm trying to do. No, what it doesn't tell you is that it's not just me doing it. I have a great team. 220 Publishing would not exist if it weren't for the people that work on it right now, like Stephanie Reynolds, who is the director of publishing. So everything goes through her. So I have a lot of fun being the face and talking about it and doing the social media posts. But when it gets to getting in the trenches and pushing those books out for the last 4 or 5 years, it's really been her that has made that happen. So I would be remiss if I didn't give her credit for it. So that's the one thing people don't know. And she's just very humble, very unsung. She avoids the spotlight, but she does a great job. So I had to, acknowledge her. Janie Lee, who's our in-house designer, who's designed, probably almost every cover we've had in the last few years, probably with the exception of maybe 3 or 4. So just a great team, just doing things for me. Wine Crawl, same thing. I have franchisees now. So last time I was on, we were exploring that option, but now we have franchisees in Chicago, in Atlanta, in Birmingham, in Raleigh, and in DC. So really appreciate them. They've taken the burden off of me. I can now retire from doing events. Thank you, God, that I can do that now. And I have people doing it that are eager, and we can't wait to get back out there. So we actually relaunch Wine Crawl this spring. And it'll be because of those ladies and all the work that they've done.
Now, I would expect you to give kudos to everyone else. I would expect you to go down the food chain and give kudos to everyone except yourself. And I know it always takes a team, but we want to know something about you specifically.
Okay, something about me specifically. Here you go. All right, so you see this book? Wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Yep, I see the book, yeah.
Jamie Gill, who was on your show, forced me to write a chapter in this book. I was not going to write. I was not going to write at all. I've authored one book and co-authored 3. It was never my intention to write, ever. I loved being a reader. I was an avid reader, but writing was just something I didn't think I had the temperament No, the patience to actually write a whole book. I still don't know that I have patience to write a whole book, but I was never going to write a chapter in Lessons for a Little Boy. So true story, I gave her a very generic first draft. It was as high level and Cliff Notes as you could be. It was, and I knew it sucked too, but I gave it to her because what
She
she gonna
didn't
do?
take that, did she?
I'm her publisher. What is she gonna do? What is she gonna tell me it sucks? No, she's just gonna take it. And I was like, she's gonna take it and like it. This is all you're getting from me. So then I read it, and I was like, okay, this sucks. I know it. So I went back and really poured my heart into that chapter. Didn't know it was going to be the first chapter in the book. Thank you, Jamie,
Thank you, Jamie.
for that one. But yeah, that is something people don't know. So it was always my intention to push people out there. I was a good coach. I never wanted to be on the field playing though. And I had to learn to do that though. And I had to learn to do that because I've learned that more people are impacted by my story than I ever imagined. You know, I thought it was all about telling other people's story, and it still is, and it always is. And we've really refocused on that in the last half decade now of helping people tell their stories and telling meaningful stories and giving people that spotlight that need it.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a secret. There's a secret. You have it. I was not going to be in that book. And if I was, it was going to be really very the light treatment.
I am really glad Jamie pushed you because you're pushing everyone else. And
I know, and that's what
she did. I'm so glad she did that. Kudos for Jamie.
Yeah, she calls me a bully. I don't know why.
Yeah.
People call me a bully because I push people to do things, but I call it suggestive persuasion.
And that's what she did for
Effective. You. Yes, she did.
Okay, so I want you to tell me about 220 communication and all that it involves.
Oh man. Okay. So I'll go back in time and tell you a little bit of story on how it started. It actually started as an events company. So those people that have known me from the time I've lived in Chicago, I moved to Chicago like mid 90s, and probably about late 99, 2000, I actually started an events company, basically 220 Communications. Even the name, I'll have to tell you the story about the name. I don't remember if I did that the last time I was on either, but we were just doing events, just cultural events, just people, if you were an artist, if you were a singer or anything else you were doing that was just cultural and fun, we were trying to do events around it to get you known, to get people known. That's how it started. 220 Publishing wasn't born until probably a few years later, like maybe 2010, 2008, 2009, 2010, when Yanni Brown was our first author. And I'd known Yanni for years as well. And she would do intimate discussions at her loft. She had a loft on Michigan Avenue. She'd do intimate discussions. And we were talking one day and she was like, what do I need to do to raise my profile? I'm like, you should probably write a book. People look at authors differently and you become a real authority on your topic. I'm like, you're very knowledgeable about what you do, but people who don't know you and can't talk to you one-on-one still need to benefit from your wisdom. So that's literally how 220 Publishing started. Didn't know a lot about it. I still don't some days about publishing in the world we've done, that we've entered into. But I knew it was important for people to have a voice. And if I had a way to give people a voice, then so be it. That's what we were going to do. Very proud of everything that we've ever put out. Did everything sell the way I wanted to? No. But we can say over the last year and a half, of the last 16 months, I counted, we've had 7 books that debuted in the top 10 in their category for bestsellers, which is really great. And we're really proud of that. And, we still, if you go to our website, we still push all of our books. You'll see us always talking about our books. We started a book club this year that people can actually subscribe to and receive books from our catalog. So that's been going along really good, and it's given our authors even extra exposure. And coming up, another secret, a scoop on your show, another scoop. And we are in negotiation now to get our books in a couple of bookstores in Atlanta and also one on the East Coast. I am confident that all of those deals are going to go through. So I'm really excited about that. So as we start to kind of go back to the traditional getting books in stores, but being very selective about it. It's not just put it on the shelf. It's putting it with a retailer that's gonna push it. We even are maybe doing an exclusive deal where our books are carried by a couple of retailers.
Wow.
Yeah. So working on that. So I'm just always figuring out ways that you can grow it and move in a different direction.
What about the other arms of 220, like the media and marketing? And
Yeah. So 220 Media, and that was kind of the name I called it because I didn't have any other name for what I was doing. It includes my blog, Stop, Look, Listen. So I have a blog on Chicago Now called Stop, Look, Listen that I've been doing for the last, 6-7 years. I was every year I would do People to Watch, where I would name 10 people and just kind of highlight what they were doing. I did that up until last year. Now we just write about human interest stories, what people are doing that are doing good in the community, be it a charity, maybe you're an author, maybe you're a business person, but just featuring people doing good. And then we write about our own stuff as well. So that's part of 220 Media. The other thing that 220 Media does is we look at or we partner with other organizations now, like your show, to really help push out our authors and do that. I'm proud to say we have about 5 podcasts where we call them our friendlies, people that we know we can go to and we can get exposure for our authors and for our clients. So that's kind of the branch of 220 Media that we're doing. We're working on a newsletter. Of course, the book club is part of 220 Media as well. And kind of what we're doing within store now will be part of it too.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And even though it's more of a G Rose production, 220 Media kind of sprinkles themselves into like Purpose, which is one of our podcasts. It's a monthly podcast that we stream on Indie that features June Hollingsworth, who was on your show as well. She's the host of it. And Purpose started out, it was going to be an event that I was doing, but I kind of retired from doing events a while back. Mm-hmm. But I always wanted to do an event called Purpose, where I highlighted people who were living in their calling and were doing different things, who had gone through extraordinary circumstances to get to the point they were today and helping other people.
So I like that.
Yeah. So we created that. So we do that once monthly. We've aired 2 shows, I think. Yeah, we've had 2 shows so far. So our 3rd show will be taping this week and it'll be released probably before the end of the month. But really love what we're doing with that. And June's a perfect host for it. She's very diligent in learning about the guest and talking to them, and the guests have been amazing. We had some of the women from Faith, Failure, Success 2 on there as well. And the last one we hosted was Jamie and some of the men from Lessons from the Little Boy.
And you have to have a lot of pride for the Lessons for the Little Boy, how that popped out one right away.
I do. It went to number 1 within a few hours of release.
Oh, I'm sorry, in hours. Okay.
No. I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of it because of all the men that are in that book, though. It's not about just that it went to number 1. It's the sharing and the pouring out that all the men did. And you have a really diverse group of men from different cultural, different ethnic backgrounds, different age groups. I think the age range was like 23 to 56 or something. Mm-hmm. I was the 23-year-old, but anyway, just
okay.
Okay. 30. All right. If I got to tell the truth, it is Sunday, isn't it? Okay. But no, it was, extremely proud of that. I mean, to read the stories, to know what they were going through at the time that they wrote them, to know what it took for me to write it. And, true story, I haven't read my chapter since I wrote it, since I turned it into Jamie, and since I approved the edits on it. That was it. Because it was just painful. It was tough. Like I said, I went back and poured into it. And Jim Papadrea, one of the authors, was in it, texted me the other day. He's like, I finally read your chapter. And he gave a quote. He sent me a quote that it was in the book that I totally forgot I'd done too. And he's like, man, that was powerful. And I was like, okay, I guess it was. I haven't read it. But okay, I might go back and read it one day. But it was tough. It was tough to write. So I just kind of got it out and let it go.
Wow. Good.
Yeah. But we are proud. We were able to donate about 15 books to a school in Atlanta for young men. I had a friend there that was a teacher, and I was like, pick out 15 students who you think would be helped by this book, and I will send it to them. So we did that. I've reached out to a number of ministers who work with youth to share the book. I think Robert Hazard has spoken at a school about the book already. Mm-hmm. Several interviews across, including on your show and across other shows that we've had of the men that are in the book. They've talked about it. So it's been powerful. It's not just a book, as Jamie always says, it's a movement. And I'm just proud to be part of it. and to
And I
play.
want to thank you. I want to thank you publicly. I've never got a chance to do this, for giving me such interesting guests. You tell me about someone interesting, and you'll be right on the money. I just thank you so much.
No, thank you for giving them a chance to talk. We appreciate that too.
And you didn't talk about the wine crawl, did you?
No, we didn't talk about Wine Crawl yet. I was waiting on that one. So Wine Crawl is a private wine tour that I started 7 years ago now, probably 8, 7. I was in Napa and I saw these tours and I was like, wow, that's a cool idea. There were limo-driven tours around Napa Valley.
Wow.
Group of people, parties and everything else. And I'm like, I should try this in Chicago. So I was already doing some wine fundraising events. So I was kind of getting into that area of things. And so I just tried it out and it was a lot of fun. So the first 2 or 3 just sold out completely. We had like 40 people on a bus on a luxury coach going around to 3 different spots, spending an hour doing tastings and pairings. And that's how it started. It grew. And a few years later, I was doing it in Atlanta. I'd gone to Dallas with it. We go to Napa. We were going to Napa once a year, which we'll return to Napa this year. We're excited to say. And it just grew so fast. And I had been at every wine crawl. We did a boat party. We did 2 boat parties, which are legendary. 2016 boat party people still talk about. I won't tell you why. But
I was going to ask.
It's memorable. Let's just say it's memorable. But we are starting again. But I realized scaling it really made sense. So in several conversations, I had a conversation with Keisha Rose about it and a conversation with some other people. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that name before when you were giving...
Keisha Rose, you know her?
Yeah.
Have you heard of her?
She sounds familiar, but...
G Rose Productions. That's the next question. That's your next question you were going to ask me on your list, probably.
Oh. No, I was, because you kind of mentioned Keisha Rose, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, where does she fit in? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, we were just having a conversation about it. So she suggested the whole franchisee thing. So I started.
So she's your business partner?
Yes, my business partner in G Rose Productions. Yes.
Okay.
Which helps produce the Man Cave Show, Books and Bottles, Purpose, and what else?
So she's a brains behind. She's a brains behind you, right? Basically. I mean, it kind of sounds. I don't know. I'm asking. I'm sorry. It just kind of sounds like.
Well, I have a few brain cells too that contribute to.
No. You have a person that you can.
You mean yes, she is. Yes.
Dear.
I'm like. I mean, I try to be the pretty face of G Rose Productions. It's hard. But
I remember Keisha Rose now. She's a model.
Yes, she is. She's a model. Yeah, which is why it's hard for me to be the pretty face of it because of her. So I was like, at least can I be the brains of it, Jan? It's like, wow.
Listen with
you. What am I doing here? Why am I here? What am I doing? You just gave her all the credit.
Well, I got to give the girl credit. I'm sorry. She's bad.
I know it. You have a deal. She's giving you lip gloss. I know it. You've done a deal with the IN collection, haven't you? You can tell the truth. It's Sunday. I need you to be honest.
No.
Okay.
I had to think about, haven't talked to her in so long. I had to think about the name was familiar.
Oh, okay.
There's so many different names. And I'm like, now who is this? Anyway, then it came. When you said something about beauty, I remember the model, and I'm like, okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. What about joint ventures and collaborations? You have a bunch of those, and you kind of mentioned some of them.
Yeah,
more about those.
Yeah, so G Rose and Indie Network would be remiss if I didn't mention Roger Jackson, who has just been a wonderful partner. We met Roger, and it's a funny story because we met Roger. We came away from that first meeting not quite sure what we thought of Roger. We were like, okay, I think he's okay. But, he was like, you just got to know Roger. You know how Roger is. His sense of humor. And you're like, you don't know if he was joking or if he's serious. So I was like, okay, I think he's going to be all right. We'll see. We'll do the show and see what happens. But that became one of our most meaningful partnerships of the last 2-3 years, teaming with Indy and just coming up with different stories. We have something in the works now for Faith, Failure, Success that we're doing that I can't really talk about now because it's still in formation. But it really fulfills one of the goals that I've of some things I've wanted to do. And it really is why I started the Faith, Failure, Success series. So Roger just kind of becomes that complementary piece to everything we're doing. So the Live from the Cave show, everything that we've gone through, we work with Indy on. So he's just been a great partner. So that's one of our biggest collaborations. The retail collaboration, which is just kind of taking works in Atlanta that we're going to be doing. So we're looking forward to that as well. And, we're looking to do that more with bookstores. around the country if we can, and even not at just bookstores. I want to do stores that do different things as well. I want to put our books in places where you don't necessarily see books. So I'm interested in growing our books in a different way, and and really getting people out there to know what we're doing.
Does it kind of hurt you that they've closed a lot of bookstores? I remember 20 years ago, there were bookstores everywhere.
Oh, I had given up on bookstores. I even have a chapter in my book that says bookstores are not your friend. So I hope they don't read that when I call them. But because it's just they're not there to help the author. They're a retail store. It's a business, and I get that, and I understand that. But you have to tell authors that because they think the end result is, oh, I need to be on the shelf at Barnes and Noble.
Right.
But being on the shelf at Barnes and Noble means nothing, because if they don't sell your book, guess what? They're going to return it. And you're going to have to give that money back that they bought the book for them. If you're distributed through a major distributor, all retailers take returns. You have to take returns back as a publisher. And so that means that around January or February, when they've gone through their inventory and they're like, okay, we didn't sell this, let's send it back and get our money back. That means you get dinged for that as a publisher.
Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that. That's a little known fact of getting your book on a retail shelf doesn't really mean anything unless you can move that book off the shelf. Somebody needs to walk in and buy that book to make it really be meaningful for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot to learn. So it's not, so yes, there are less bookstores, but they're more purposeful retailers now. I guess is the best way to say it. So it's not just bookstores. I mean, you think about Black Wall Street and some other things that are happening and teaming with groups like that to get your book out. So it's really not about finding a store to put it on the shelf. It's about finding a retail partner that's going to help promote it and help you grow your audience in a different way. So I'm looking at it, putting my marketing brain on and my marketing cap on is, my goal, my end result is to get the book out to the public. What's the best way to do it? So not necessarily narrowing my view to say I've got to be at a store, a traditional bookstore, but looking at where do I need the book to be for people to see it?
Which is a smart strategy, which is a real smart strategy, actually. So
yeah, you got to really look at it as it's a product, and where do people go that I need to put this product?
Tell us more about what everyone's talking about these days, because you got some guys on there and some of your guests are just buck wild. But there is like nothing off limits on this show. Tell us about Live from the Cave, how it started, your role in it. That show is hot. Go ahead.
So high level, Live from the Cave started. Roger had an idea. He wanted to do a man's show, and I always wanted to do something like that too. And Keisha and I had talked about it. So we talked to him about it. Our host is Sean Mason, and we knew Sean he had been on Yanni's show, Making Love Better Together. And we always said, okay, we got to do something else with him. And I had known Sean for almost 20 years from his singing. And then I knew he'd gotten into photography as well. So we always just kind of kept in touch. So he was on Yanni's show a couple of times, did a great job. We were like, okay, we got to figure out something else to do with him. So we thought he'd be a great host for that. Mel Roberson had been on the initial Live from the Cave show that we did, kind of the launch on Yanni's show, where she invades the man cave. There's an episode where she invades the man cave. So Mel was on there. Robert Hazard came a little bit later, probably about 6 months in, but Rob was always our frequent guest. He was always good. He was always popular. And we decided, okay, we need a fourth. And we thought, okay, Robert's a perfect one. And he's been great. The lover of life.
The lover of life.
I can't, I think I'll get sued if I don't actually, when I call his name, I have to say the lover of life too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's part of his contract with us. So anytime I say his name, I got to do lover of life. He gets, I don't know if he gets a royalty for it or something. I don't know. It's no time.
I got to have him on the show. I haven't had him on the show.
You haven't had him on the show?
Yeah. I think he came when everyone else came, or did he? I don't think he did.
I don't remember. It may have just been. Might have been before we named him as.
It was Mel, you, and Sean. I'll have to have the lover of life.
Oh, that'll be a fun show. Let me know when that is, so I can heckle him from the audience. But anyway, the Man Cave show. The best way to describe Live from the Cave is it's the show women want to hear, but they don't always want to listen to. So you know how we were talking about this in the green room. You know how you're arguing. We argue with a woman and she goes, "I hear you, but." That's the Man Cave show. If I hear you, but was a show, it would be the Live from the Cave show, because women are like, "I hear you, I hear all your opinions, but." And all you have to do is read the comments. You've seen the show.
Oh yeah.
You see the comments. the comment section, it gets lively in there. People get to
Well, it
argue.
gets lively because some of the things those men say. Buck wild. I mean,
no, it is a show that if you could sneak into a room where it's only men and they know you weren't around,
listen,
and listen, that's what that show is. And we
That's
decided that we were going to go all in. And even though we do kind of engage with the audience at times, the goal isn't to engage with the audience. And we tell the fellas that, and we all know this, that we're talking. No matter what somebody says, if it's your opinion and you want to state that opinion, you can state it. And our guests do that too. So we've brought in some really good guests. We had Pat Neely on, which was so much fun. Yeah, it was fun for him too, because it was during COVID. So you could tell he hadn't gotten out much. So he had some fun talking, boy. He had a lot of stories to tell. We thought Sean had stories. Mr. Neely had some serious stories, but he was fun. And we've had some good guests. We had a couple of ball players on, Desmond Clark, who used to play for the Bears, Josh Powell, who used to play for the Lakers. We had Ben Stevens on, a very popular show, The Family Business on BET. He was a guest on the show. He had a ball. He was a great guest as well. And we just had some really good ones, some of our authors and people from all walks of life. But it's just men talking about subjects that we talk about when women aren't around. And you get to hear them. And I can't tell you how many inboxes I've gotten of women that's like, well, this isn't fair. You need a woman on to give an alternate opinion. And I'm like, you got the talk, the chew, the whatever else you want to call the woman. I don't even know all the names of the women's shows, but there's a million of them on and you've got all of them to tell your opinion. So it's not always popular. Like I said, it's the I hear you, but I'm not really listening to that. That's what I like to say about it. But it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun, but sometimes what they say, and your guest, oh my God, and Sean, I love it. Like, gosh.
Yes, Sean has gotten me in trouble for the stuff he said. And I'm like, how do I get blamed for the stuff that Sean says? I get inboxes about what he says. So it's hilarious. I had a lady argue with me. One lady was going to unfriend me because she didn't like that I agreed with something a guest said. Of course, she listens every week now. So she was lying. You know, it was like, I'm not going to listen anymore to your show. This is terrible. You're degrading women. It's just horrible.
I've never heard that.
You did. I know. We've never degraded women. I know. We've never degraded women. We gave an opinion that you didn't agree with, and you didn't get to say anything about it.
You give a lot of those.
Yeah. And that's the problem. That is the problem. But it's been fun. Like I said, 2 years now we've done it. We actually are going to Richmond, Virginia at the end of April to do a live from the cave.
They invite you out to these other cities?
They let us out of the house. Yes, they let us out of the house. We're all going to Richmond, Virginia. So if you have any listeners in Richmond, Virginia, we look forward to seeing you on April 30th. We did the Black Women's Expo last year. We did a live version of that both days. We're hoping to do that again this year as well. So it has been great, but it's not just about talking about women. It's talking about mental health. Yeah, we had Khalid Scott on, who's a doctor, and he's a mental health expert. And we really talked about men and mental health and dealt with those issues. We had one of the more memorable episodes. We had an episode after the George Floyd murder where we talked about that. And then the night after Chadwick Boseman died, we had a show.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, so we were all pretty emotional about that because it just got to us. It was a tough show to talk about because we were feeling a certain kind of way about such a positive role model leaving so soon, and we had to share those emotions. So we've shared a lot of things on that show that have been really important to us as well, and it's been good therapy for the four of us to talk about the things that are going on in our lives, our fears, our hopes, and things like that. So. It's a quality show. I call it a conversation show. It's not a talk show because a talk show follows a format of, hey, I'm going to ask you question 1. You're going to answer. Guess 2, you answer. No, it's a conversation. We definitely talk about and delve into issues. Some topics we'll take half the show to talk about. Mm-hmm. And we'll dedicate a show to relationships every couple of months because women love that. So you got to give the red meat to your audience because the relationship show, always the highest rated. I wonder why.
I know. Yeah. I do it once a month now.
Do you? See? Can't imagine why everybody wants to hear relationships. But here's the thing. We get the same question all the time. And I've decided we're going to have a parking lot for some questions where we're never going to bring them up again.
But people want to hear it. So,
why do men cheat? Well, I don't know. Ask the man that cheated on you. because he probably has a good reason. Well, not a good reason, but he has a reason in his mind, a justification on why he did it. You should ask him, because we don't know. We don't know why men cheat. We don't know why your husband did it. We don't know why your boyfriend did it. Don't ask us. We're not counselors. We're opinion sellers. The other one is, we talked about this last week, the what do you bring to the table question. And it's like, I'm so sick of hearing about that. I'm sick of that question. So I'm like, never again. We're not bringing that question up again on what do you bring to the table. It's just like the basics. Like, let's get past the basics.
You are right. It is why do men cheat, and what are you bringing to the table?
What do you bring to the table? Yeah.
True.
Yeah. When is a man going to be ready for marriage? When he proposes to you. That's probably your best
sign. And that's exactly the answer.
There's your sign right there from God. When he gets on one knee and proposes, that's when he's ready. That's how you know. It's a ring involved and a proposal. That's your hint right there.
But I think women are trying to delve deeper, and they're trying to get it from a man's perspective so they can manipulate whoever they're with to figure out how does a man think. So I'm just saying.
Manipulate. Wow.
Well, I'm just being real.
Manipulation.
Yes, men. Excuse me. Yes, they do.
Oh my gosh.
And men manipulate women. Come on. Oh, okay. We're not going to go there. Okay. What about making love better together?
Oh, that was our first show, our baby. Yanni Brown's show. So that was great. We took her book, Making Love Better Together, and just her whole persona of being a relationship coach, and brought her on and created a show around those different topics. And, we're hoping to do another one. We stopped during COVID, but we're hoping to do a second season of that. We are thinking about how we're going to do it. Yanni's now in Raleigh, but we still want to do a second season of that show because we had a great time. And from that show, it birthed a lot of other things. The Man Cave, we found great people that we work with and everything. So that was fun. And that was our first venture into it. My first producer, credit, director, whatever I was doing on there. I was doing whatever Keisha told me to do, really, because I didn't know nothing. I was just
Whatever
Keisha told me to do on that show, particular.
Oh, okay.
Just that one. Don't try it. Don't try it. I think you've already gotten your month's supply of lip gloss and candles.
You know what? You're so wrong.
There's a backroom deal going on somewhere.
What?
Audience, Voices of Change show. Don't make me expose the Voices of Change show here.
Audience knows that's not true. That's not true. Okay, another question. You've been in this business for a long time, and your business has morphed into what it is now. Mm-hmm. So how have your priorities changed from when you first started?
I had to learn to help my business to run when I'm not there. I didn't need to be part of every decision. I didn't need to be part of every motion and every movement and every step forward. So I had to take myself out of the equation. You're not really a CEO of a business until you're not the primary focus of the business. And I never call myself CEO. You notice I don't say that.
Anyway. I know I do, but you don't.
Founder. Yeah. I founded the company. I founded the concept. I, created the idea, because to me, a CEO is out of it and really letting it run effectively. Now that's happening with some of the businesses. Definitely. It's happening with publishing. It's happening with Wine Crawl. And to a point, you have to be involved with the production company. You just have to be hands-on. That's just part of the job there. But I just feel like you have to learn to make that business run without you. It's in corporate America. If I get hit by a bus, if I get hit by a bus, who takes my place? And I worked for GE early in my career, and they were very big on succession planning. So every manager knew down 3 levels who was going to replace them if they went on to another position. And I embraced that concept and said, okay, I need to develop the people that can do this without me. So right now people come to me about publishing stuff, and I send them to Stephanie because, number one, I don't know. Number two, you don't want me putting your book together because it'll be messed up, because I don't know the first thing about all the steps that she needs to take. And I do that on purpose so that I have somebody that they can go to that's a trusted resource. I don't have the time. If I was doing it all by myself, I wouldn't have 50 books. We wouldn't have 50 books out in 220 Publishing. That's for sure.
Well, but that's hard to do, being a business owner. And you have a full-time job too, right?
Yes.
You have a full-time job, but being a business owner, it's kind of hard to let go, because you want to make sure everything is done right to your specifications. But to your point, you're absolutely right. You can't do it all.
No, you can't do it all. And that's the first step in realizing and running a business, is that the business needs to run without you. You're not really running a business if you're the business that's running.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Jack Welch. Okay, here we go. Knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently when you were first starting out? Would you organize it differently? What would you have done differently?
I would have organized it a lot differently. I would have started recruiting those people to do what I just said earlier in the process. It took me some growing pains to really get out of the middle of things. And, you had to make some money. You had to be able to have the revenue to be able to pay the people to do it as well. So, it's a catch-22. It's like I didn't have the money. I had the idea, I had good ideas, but no money. So I had to figure out how to make the money to really execute the idea right and bring on the people to help execute the idea. So I would have structured some things differently. I make it a point now that anybody that does any work for us, we're paying them. I had a lot of people that were working, kind of volunteering because they thought it was cool to do.
Right.
But then those people aren't committed to it because they can drop off at any time. Because guess what? What you're not doing, you're not paying them.
You're not paying me.
Right. Yeah, you're not paying them. So they don't have any investment in staying. There's no check at the end of whatever you ask them to do. So being able to pay people, and it may not be what they want to make, but at least it gives them something for their work and gives them experience working across different businesses and different media. And I tell people who come in the door, how you start is not necessarily how you finish. There's always opportunities to do different things. So if you figure out something you want to do, or if you want to talk to me about doing something different, let me know, because we can figure it out. We do marketing, we do publishing, we do event stuff, we do media stuff. We do a lot of different things. So there's opportunities to work and get an experience in a lot of different areas if you want them.
And that brings another question. How did you raise capital for your business? How did you fund it initially?
I'm the funder and the capital raiser.
Oh, you did like all entrepreneurs.
Yes, I did it myself.
Yeah,
I put a lot of money in it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of time, a lot of building of stuff. I learned how to build websites. I don't do that anymore because I don't want to ever do that again. But I learned how to do it, and it forced me to make the business profitable and figure out ways to make it profitable. And coming from corporate America, that's invaluable experience on profitability and understanding your P&L and how to drive profit and how to take out cost and how to cut the corners you need to cut to get to where you need to get to. And I'm still doing it. I'm still looking at it, and I'm still always trying to reinvent it. I mean, I think we're going to reorg a little bit on the marketing media side probably in the next few months just to make sure that it's running more effectively for the authors. And there was a point where I didn't want to do publishing anymore because I just was tired. I was just kind of burnt out from it. Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And I just kind of became reinvigorated after Wine Crawl had to take the hiatus because of COVID. I really refocused on publishing. And it turns out publishing wasn't something that I needed to let go. I just needed to look at it in a different way. And I was looking at Wine Crawl. Wine Crawl was super profitable. I mean, we're talking like 80-20 in terms of profitability.
Really?
Wine Crawl, because people will pay for wine. They'll pay for a good time. People will pay for experiences. That is the thing that I've learned about Wine Crawl. People pay for experiences. That's why people pay thousands of dollars to go to resorts and things like that. They want the experience. They pay for that. You don't go to the Ritz-Carlton because you want just a bed. You want an experience. You want to stay at the Ritz. You want that full experience. And that's what Wine Crawl is. We're not the cheap alternative to your, to helping you drink wine or anything like that. We give you an experience. We treat you, everybody's a VIP. Mm-hmm. So it's different, but it was profitable. It was good money. So I was like, okay, being a smart businessman, I need to put my efforts into what is the most profitable thing. And it wasn't publishing at the time. This was before the number ones and all this other stuff. We had some good books now, don't get me wrong. This is no disrespect to any of the authors that came before, because we had some very successful books, but it's a slower grind and it's a slower drip in terms of profitability and things like that. It's recognizing revenue 3 months after the book comes out, or it's fronting money for
You're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. It's fronting money for books and then hoping that you break even and then hoping that you make profit after that. So it's a calculation that we got better at for that as well. But I was ready to let it go. I was like, oh, I'm Wine Crawl all the way. I can help people drink and they're happy and they pay me for that. Oh yeah, I can do that. That's easy. But there's purpose involved with the publishing company now. and I realized that. And you can't run from you can run from your purpose. You can run from your purpose. Yes, you can. You can't run far, and it catches you eventually.
Yeah, it always pulls you.
It always pulls you back. It always runs you right back to where you need to be. So, all the failures and all of the stops and starts and all of the things that didn't go right with the company, all the ideas that didn't go right, I'm appreciative for all of that, those experiences, because it made me better at how I look at things today. It made me better at how and who I work with. It made me more focused on what kind of material we want to put out, what kind of reputation do we want to have, what are the books that I want my name on, or the 220 name on, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
It made me look at all of that and think about all of that. So the last 24 months have been an education for me in how to build a more purposeful company that helps a number of people in as many ways as possible. How do you scale the help that you provide? So that's what I've been able to do.
Another question about where you're kind of landing. You seem to be here in Chicago, obviously, because you're here physically. Mm-hmm. But you also have a presence in Atlanta. How did that come about? And why did you pick Atlanta instead of in LA or New York or somewhere else?
I swear I didn't pick Atlanta. Atlanta picked me because I did not pick Atlanta. Trust me. Atlanta was not. LA was LA. LA, I love you. If you're in LA, if you're listening, I love LA and Northern California too, because that's wine country. So of course you have.
Oh, Northern, yeah.
Yeah, because you have my heart. But no, Atlanta. When I was working, I actually got a job in Atlanta in 2016, so I had to move there for a couple of years. Okay. And I had already started kind of establishing roots there. I knew people there, and I had already planned for like doing a wine crawl there and everything. But it all took off, and somebody. June Hollingsworth, I have to give her credit for that. She kept telling me, Atlanta is for you. That's where you're going to really see your greatest successes. And I didn't believe her because I just didn't want to believe her. I try not to listen to June. She has good advice, so nobody take that the wrong way. I just don't choose to listen to her advice sometimes early on. I listen to it eventually. It's like I hear you, June, but I'm not listening. So kind of like the Man Cave show. I'm just the reverse of it. It's like I hear her. I just wasn't listening to her, but she had told me that 2 years before I ever moved, that Atlanta was where I was going to go.
How did you not listen to June? And she's almost psychic. I mean, not psychic, but
prophetic.
She's prophetic. How could you not listen to her?
Because I just try to avoid those prophets.
You're running.
I'm like, okay, whatever, June. I'm like, things can change. Atlanta, LA. There's LA in Atlanta, L and an A in there. So I thought you may have meant LA and not Atlanta. That's what I told her. Of course, she had listened to me. But she told me that. She told me that was going to be late, and she was exactly right. In the 24 months I was there, it took me probably 6 years to accomplish what I accomplished in Atlanta in 2. So, yes, Atlanta is definitely a split time now between Atlanta and Chicago. I was about to say LA again. Atlanta and Chicago.
Maybe that's the next one. Maybe
LA. Get it out there. LA. I know. I've gone back to June. She'll tell you. If you talk to June, she'll tell you. I'll go back to her and be like, are you sure you didn't mean like San Francisco, Los Angeles? Are you sure you got that prophetic message? Were you really open to? Were you open to listening, or were you thinking about a good food place in Atlanta when you got that vision? I will mess with her about it. I can do that. I can do that with her. She knows I listen to her. She just knows I don't like it. That's all. I just let her know how I feel about it, but then I do it. After she goes away, I complain about it, but yes. So no, that's the reason for it.
That's how you got the Atlanta connection.
That's how I got the yes.
I was wondering, someone from the audience wanted to know, I think you touched on this briefly, if you could touch on it for like a minute or so, what type of media company?
Yeah, so when I say media, I think about all the media properties that we own. So I think about the streaming networks, the interview shows, Books and Bottles, Purpose, our blog, my blog, Stop, Look, Listen. So those are the media that we manage. Okay. Our newsletter as well, which we've revived again, and our book club. So all of those are under the 220 Media banner.
I got another question because your bio mentioned something about film, and you've actually written something. Tell me a little bit about the film.
So yeah, that's part of G Rose Productions. So our goal
G Rose Productions, okay.
Yes, Yeah, see, it's so funny. We get back around to Keisha. You get
No,
back around to
I'm just okay. I'm just trying to put it all together.
G Rose Productions really is the icing on the cake to everything that I've done, because it really combines everything that I've learned. And it's almost like that company was created to take advantage of all the content and everything else that I've created over the last 10, 15 years, honestly. We're taking G Rose Productions and, like I said, Making Love Better Together, leverage Yanni Brown, who was my first author. It leveraged a number of other authors who've been on that show, a number of other partners like yourself. You were on the first show, one of the first shows as well. So I was able to leverage a lot of the connections that I had made and the people that I had talked to through those shows. The film, the first screenplay we wrote was for a book called Love Miscarriage by Marcy Batiste. It's a great love story. Don't ask me how I was writing a love story. That was wonderful. I was bullied by Marcy and Keisha into doing that. That's a true story. I introduced the two of them. Marcy needed to write the story. She needed to write the screenplay. So I'm like, hey, you should talk to Keisha. She's in film. She writes. She produces. I think you two would get along great. So they met and they were going to write. And they were like, oh, no, you're writing with us. And I'm like, writing what? And they're like writing this screenplay with us. And I didn't know the first thing about it, but it was so much fun. We literally stayed up for 24 hours, almost 2 weekends, writing that screenplay.
You wrote it in 2 weekends?
Well, we wrote it. Well, Marcy was out of town, so she came in town and we stayed up and just kind of wrote for those 2 weekends that she was here. Then in between, we go back and forth with edits and things like that. So yeah, it's been great. Then Keisha and I have scripted a couple of series now, 2 or 3 series. And then Books and Bottles, which was originally an actual live event that I did with 220 Publishing, and combining wine tasting and books and purpose. So all of those came from the production company. We have a couple of documentaries. We have a couple of shorts that we've written. We are hoping to film a documentary soon. I'm putting it out there. We'll have a documentary done.
You didn't say what it's on, so I guess that'll stay under wraps. Okay. So
I'll announce it once I get everything in place.
Okay.
But that's a partnership with Indie TV. I can say that for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good partnership. That's a good company.
Yeah. So that's what that is. So yeah, I've actually become a writer now. I hate to say it. Dare I say, I've become a writer
in every aspect of the
Yeah, like I've written
film, writing stage plays.
I know, really. What's wrong with me? This was never my plan. See, that's the whole thing. How you start is not how you finish. This was never my plan. I was always going to be the coach. I was never going to get on the court.
And now
you're all the other players out there.
And now you're playing. Okay.
Yeah, I was so happy bullying people. It was such a great
someone said you were a bully. I guess it was true.
I know. I was in a great space being a bully, telling people you should do this. And this is why you should do it. And I had great reasoning behind it and everything. And now here I am having to take my own advice. That just sucks so bad.
Okay, another question for you. What challenges did you have to overcome, if any, at the beginning of your journey? Or did everything just go smooth sailing?
Smooth sailing, never. So number one, I had to overcome everybody telling me I couldn't do it because nobody could actually figure out what I did. So it's so funny because people still ask me, what exactly do you do? What exactly is 220 communications and what exactly is it? So at first, doing the events, that was kind of easy to define. But when I said I wanted to do publishing, I remember sitting down with this guy and he told me paperback books are going away. Everybody's going to be reading ebooks and this is a dumb thing for you to do. You should never start a publishing company. I didn't listen to him, of course, obviously, but I don't listen to a lot of people. Being hard-headed is a great skill when you're trying to start a business, let me tell you. And I'm very hard-headed. It's the Aries in me, I think. That's what I've been told. But
when's your birthday? April?
Yep, April 14th.
Oh, okay.
Aries season is about to start. Me and Robert Hazard, Aries season.
Oh, the lover of life.
The lover of life. Yeah, he's an Aries. Go figure.
Somebody with his own in April then.
I know, somebody with his own personal hashtag. Can go figure. He's an Aries. Would have never guessed that.
Oh, yes, I would. But okay.
I know. So no, the thing I learned was you have to have a hard head and a really tough tough attitude about things, because it's not gonna be all roses. It's gonna be some failures. You're gonna have some missteps. I made a lot of mistakes, a lot more than I care to admit, to even mention. Spent a lot of money on things I didn't need to spend a lot of money on. I partnered with people I shouldn't have been partnering with. And you've got to be careful about that too, because not everybody is a true partner. Sometimes partnership to some people means you do a lot of the work and I'm going to take the credit.
There you go.
You know, you get in the trenches and dig that ditch, and then I'm going to show everybody the beautiful ditch we dug and take the credit for it. That's kind of what partnership is to some people. So be careful with who you partner with and make sure that's understood. Get everything in writing. Don't do anything without a contract or a statement of work, some sort of agreement in writing. Learn that early. I learned that from corporate America, and that has served me so well with everything I do.
Wow. Gosh, we're 5 minutes out. You know what that means? I have to wrap it up already. I think there is another. I'm not sure what this question is. This person, how did you overcome not having money and being extremely tight to grow your business? We kind of already touched on that.
Yeah, just
self-funded.
Yeah, self-funded. I had a job, and worked hard at the job, and just figured out. And I figured out a lot of things to do free. I mean, I became very adept at social media, because I didn't have any money to pay anybody to market. So I really learned about social media and the platforms and leveraging it. I mean, Wine Crawl organically reached 1 million people for like all of our events for 1 year without me buying a Facebook ad, because I was able to really work social media the way you could. I mean, now Facebook has changed the algorithms and everything's different.
Right.
And there are other platforms, but I would say, the other thing I did early on was build a list of people. So I have a really good list of people.
That's what I gotta do.
A list that's offline. So an email list, an old-fashioned email list. You need that as you start to talk to people. You have to talk to them and meet them wherever they are. And there's still people that look at email. Not everybody's catching your post on Facebook. I know this for sure. Not everybody's reading your Twitter post, and a lot of people aren't on Twitter. Not everybody's reading your Instagram pictures or anything else like that. Also, don't confuse likes with profit. That would be the biggest
Oh
thing.
my God, you are so right.
Yeah, don't get the two mixed up. A like is free. It's a one little keystroke, and I can do it from my phone. I can do it from my PC. I can do it from anywhere. And it doesn't cost me anything. To make effort to go to your website, to go to your podcast, to listen to it, to write a review for a book, to buy a ticket to something, that takes some effort. So, and I was just at a webinar. I was at a seminar in Denver, and the person that organized it was like, you know what? Just don't even look at anybody that likes your stuff on Facebook. Don't count them as a sale. Don't count them as anything. Just count it as something cosmetic. And I agree with that to an extent. I think you can mine some of that once you find people that are interested in your product, but it is work. It takes work to do. So don't count on one place to have your success. If I were starting this business today, I would still create an email list to start to talk to people with that. That's the way I did before.
And you've actually given me a whole lot of nuggets without even knowing it, because I'm producing a stage play that's going to start the weekend of April 15th and April 22nd. And you get all these likes and you do all this stuff, and it's like, to your point, it doesn't mean anything. But I'm going to bring the cast on and talk about it. But for everyone listening, it's called David and Bathsheba, and it's from the biblical story. But it's kind of a modern adaptation, and it's a pastor of a mega church who's going to meet this lady that goes to the church, and you can probably guess what the rest of it is. But Glenn, you've been giving me so many nuggets just in the last couple of questions of things that you do things wrong, you do things right, and you move along. We got 1 more minute. So I want you to tell me shortly and briefly, what have you enjoyed most about being a business owner?
The people I've helped. The people I've been able to help. The people I've helped tell their story. I've had some really good friends that I knew that wanted to write, and they didn't have a whole book to write. And I was like, okay, here's a way you can do this and get your story out there and start to get your chops in and writing and getting used to being an author by being part of these anthologies and things like that. So I've helped people tell stories that are going to help many other people that they're never going to meet. That's the true meaning of life. How many people can you really help? How many people have you seen say that you've helped in a day or in a lifetime, for that matter? because that's really what counts. At the end of our lives, nobody says I should have worked harder at work. I should have stayed an extra hour at work. Nobody says that. It's what you've done that's fulfilled yourself and others that really make the difference.
And that's my friend. And that's, I would expect that. What a great way to close. Tell people how they can reach you if they have a book to publish or if they want to reach.
You can reach me at, I'm on Twitter, Glenn220, Instagram, Glenn220, Glenn Murray on Facebook. You can go to the 220 publishing site, www.220books.com. We have a form that you can fill out. Yeah.
And that you guys, that is the Glenn Murray, and Kennery says it really well, and he's been on my show too. Good
Thank
stuff.
you, Kennery.
Good stuff, Glenn. Thank you so much. Next week is my relationship week, and I am going to have Dr. Khalid Scott on, and we're going to talk about side pieces and mistresses. Remember, we just talked about.
Ooh, I just missed that show. Thank God. Okay, glad I'm on the right show.
That is
good
next
job,
week.
Khalid. Go
So,
do it.
all of you here, come back next week. I look forward to it. You guys have a blessed week. Glenn, thank you so much.
Thank you as always.
Take care. And if you talk to Keisha, tell her thank you also. Goodbye.
Yeah, the brains. I'll let her know.
No. Beauty and the brains.
Oh, both. Okay, both.
Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye, y'all.
Right, thank you.